So before we dive in today, I just want to take a moment to say thank you for the response to the last video. Honestly, on starting this, I never expected it to resonate with so many of you, and your comments, your shares, and support were truly an unexpected surprise. In fact, it means more to me than you'll ever know, and I'm so grateful that you've joined this journey with me. But with that said, and some things that are top of mind, let me ask, what drives you? What keeps you going when life gets hard, when things don't go as planned? Or when you're questioning if you're even on the right path? Well, we all have something, a purpose, a belief, a foundation that grounds us. But sometimes, in the chaos of life, we lose sight of it. I've been there, feeling stuck, uncertain, and searching for meaning in the middle of challenges. But over time, I've realized that how we show up in these moments defines everything that comes next. And it all starts with three things for me. One is being intentional, being mindful, and being self-aware. Let me share a story with you. There's a story about a man who had two seeds, two small identical seeds, each holding the same potential. He took the first one and carefully he planted it in rich soil. Every day he tended to it, watering it, making sure it got enough sunlight, pulling the weeds that threatened to choke it out. And it wasn't easy for him. And some days he doubted whether it was even growing, but he stayed patient, trusting the process. Well, the second seed, he left it on a shelf untouched. Maybe he intended to plant it later. Maybe he told himself he would get to it when life wasn't so busy. But days turned into weeks and weeks into months, and that seed sat there collecting dust. Over time, the first seed grew, slowly at first, then stronger, pushing through the soil, reaching towards the sky. It became a tree rooted and unshakable. The second seed, well, it remained exactly where it was, never sprouting, never becoming anything more than a forgotten possibility. Life can be like that. Every day we're planting seeds through our actions, our choices, our thoughts, and our habits. Some of us are nurturing growth even when we don't see the immediate results, while others are waiting for the right time to start, leaving their potential sitting on a shelf. The question is, which seed are you planting? Are you growing with intention, or are you letting life pass you by? This is where being intentional is very important for me. Being intentional is about choosing how you spend your time, who you let into your space, and what energy you bring into your day. I used to just oftentimes go with the flow, thinking things would work out on their own, but then I realized that if I'm not making decisions for myself, life is making them for me, and it's not always in my favor. So I had to start asking myself, what do I actually want? What kind of person do I want to be? The moment I started setting clear intentions, life felt less random, more like a path I was actually creating for myself. With that, I started thinking a little bit deeper about being mindful and what mindfulness meant. Well, mindful isn't just about meditation and deep breaths, though trust me, those help. But it's about being fully present instead of constantly stressing about the next thing. I used to often rush through my days, rushing from one task to the next, one appointment to another. And I noticed I was barely even noticing the small joys around me. But when I took time to pause, really pause, begin to see things differently. I noticed the warmth of the sun, the way my coffee tasted, the small wins I had been overlooking. And when I slowed down and actually experienced life, it stopped feeling like a blur and it began to feel like something with more meaning. It created a sense of self-awareness, and this is where self-awareness comes into the picture. Self-awareness is a game changer. It's knowing your patterns, your triggers, and when you're getting in your own way. I used to blame things on situations around me for how I felt, and really until I started looking inward. Why certain situations made me feel anxious, why I kept repeating the same patterns or mistakes, In fact, the more I reflected, the more I realized I had control over my emotions and reactions. Yeah, it's not always easy to face yourself, but the more you do so, the more power you gain over your own life. Look, life is unpredictable, but when you're intentional with your actions, mindful of your moments and self-aware of what's really going on inside you, you start to feel more in control. You stop drifting and you start directing your life. And that's when things really start to change. So we have to ask ourselves, are you really living intentionally? Are you being mindful? Are you making efforts to become more self-aware? But as you think about that, before you go, I do want to hear from you, so drop a comment, whether it's something that resonated, a takeaway, or even better, pay it forward with a word of encouragement for those who come after you. Your words might be exactly what someone needs today. And if this message spoke to you, like it, subscribe. It really helps more than you know. Your support will help spread the reach of this message to someone who might need a reminder that they're not alone. Before we go, remember this. We can't change the past, but we can shape what happens next. Every step forward is a step toward the life you want, and you're still writing your story. So keep going. You got this.